funny that it's like we should talk to that sound buses back. Thank you so much.
It's not that sometimes we're too smart for me. See, this is why she just has some insecurities.
You were very rude. You were like, why is somebody smart people? Where's Abby?
What if I would have popped off there and that's how? I would have gotten that natural A. I would have been like, or me. Don't leave me out.
I was like, let me at least be included in this.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know how to switch this back to the other camera, so.
It's a calculator. Olivia, are you gonna walk through how to use it?
Go to 7. Stop on video.
Oh,
God, you guys are smart.
just slowly.
There we go. Okay, so if I want to do my calculator, I'll go over here. If I want that, I will go over there. Okay, so sorry for that. We are set to go now. All right, so we're talking about concentration changes over time and talking about graphing them. And you should have listened to the lovely Renee McCormick last night talk about how we go about this and how we can use these graphs to figure out reaction orders. Okay. So given a set of data, we can actually use that set of data to determine our reaction orders. If we have a graph where we have a straight line here and we have concentration on the side and time here, then we would end up with a straight line for concentration versus time for a zero order reaction. A first order reaction when we have concentration versus time is going to look something like this, and the second order is going to look like this. Okay? So given a graph, and this is your y-axis, and you have a straight line, you know automatically that it's zero order. If it's not a straight line, it's going to be hard to discern which of these it is or if it's in between. Okay? So because of that, this will let me advance my slides. There we go. When we look at our zero order reaction and we have that linear slope, we can look at the slope of the line. The slope of the line then is going to be your K value. Okay, so K there, when you have your slope, that slope is your K value. So once you have a straight line, you can figure out what your K value is if you know the slope. And that's where your calculator is going to come in real handy for you, because it's going to calculate, and you're going to be able to use those lists to figure out if it's first, second, or third order, or I'm sorry, zero, first, or second order, which is all it's going to be on the AP exam. They're not going to have half orders. You can have half orders. You can have fractional orders. So when you get into like college chem, that might happen. But just realize that you can use your calculator to make it happen too. Okay. So on your sheet, on your fancy sheet that they give you, they have these formulas on there. So it says kinetics here. Okay. They have this formula on there for you. Now, if you take that same data and you plot it, but this time on your y-axis, instead of having concentration there, you have the natural log of the concentration. If then you get a straight line, then that means that it is first order. And your slope again is going to be your K value. So that's why your calculator can be so handy. And I want you guys, especially those of you who are taking the exam in May, to get familiar with how to use that, because that's going to save you a crap ton of time trying to figure out slopes and all this other jazz. Yeah, but R, I think, is that slope? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. It tells you it's essentially your confidence. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So then, if you graph this, but sometimes they show you the graphs. Like it's like a multiple choice question. They'll show you the graphs. So if that graph is 1 over the concentration versus time, and that's your straight line, then that means that it's second order. Okay? So getting familiar with how to use your calculator makes life a lot easier. The other thing that you need, that you can see here, is if you are dealing with concentration versus time, and it's a first order, this is going to give you a perfect half-life graph. So if you remember back to when we did half-lives in regular chem, we ended up having that perfect half-life curve that was created. You end up with the same thing here. And for these zero order reactions, your half-life, your T1/2, equals 0.693 over K. So if you can figure how long it took for this to go down by half, so for example here, if we're looking at the red line, if we went from 5 to 2.5, if we know the amount of time it took to go that amount, to change that amount, that's our half-life. If it's a first order reaction, then you can plug it into that equation, and that's going to give you your K value. So you can get your rate constant if it's a first order reaction from the graph. Does that make sense? So here's what, if you remember back to that whole nuclear decay thing that we did back in the day, okay? If we went down by half here, we lost half. It took us 1 half-life to do that, all right? Then you can take T1/2 equals this over K. Well, if T equals 1, then we would 1 over K equals this, and then do your math. You can figure out what K is. All right, so this guy is just kind of a summary of what we've talked about. But if you're familiar with how to put these in your calculator, life is much easier. Now, this guy right here is actually on your equation sheet. So that is the top equation on your equation sheet. This is your second equation in the kinetics section on your equation sheet. And guess what this is? The third one. Yeah. Okay.
But it's L3. What's 104?
So you can, if you know the concentrations and you know the time, you can solve for K. All right. If you know the concentrations and the time, you can solve for K. Now, if you end up with a natural log and you want to get rid of that, what do? How do you get rid of that? E to the whatever it is will give you the number then.
Guys. It's so inverse.
Don't start this. Can we just ignore the calculus?
Yeah, there is no calculus in this. You don't need to do calculus. You do not need to do calculus to make this happen. I've never had calculus. I can do this. Or, did you say calculator part or calculus part?
The calculator part.
Okay. Here are your half-lives. This guy right here is the only one that you would need for the exam, and it is on your equation sheet. This helps you verify your units of K, but you need to get used to doing those on your own. All right, here we go. You ready?
Hold on.
All right, I got to remember how to do this. It's been a couple days. It's been a couple days, y'all. Kath, you can fly on this, I suppose. All right. I gotta go. No, we're not. You just keep on dreaming, honey. I got something new for you. All right, here we go. Why is this? How do I turn this the right way? All right. Y'all drunk yet from me moving this thing around? All right. Hopefully it's still getting my microphone from settings, audio. I don't want that. I want my microphone from my computer. Where's my computer? Which one's my computer? HD Pro camera. Hue. All right, fine. Use the camera then. Hopefully something will come up then. All right, here we go. All right, so I want to enter my list. Where do I go? So clear. I'm going to clear everything off of here. I'm going to hit stat. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my list. How do I get my list up? Edit. I'm going to hit edit. Okay. Well, I got a bunch of stuff in my list, so maybe I need to go back to that. Stat. I want to clear my list. It didn't like that, y'all. Yeah, I didn't like that. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to clear my list here.
Just go up to the top where it says LR and L2.
How do I clear it? Oh, I hit clear. Ah, that's funny. Okay, I'm going to leave those set. Maybe if I leave those set up, I won't have to enter them again. All right, y'all, here we go. I'm going to enter my list now. And what do I want to have for my L1? Do I want time or do I want concentration? Time. Okay, so 0, enter, 100, enter, 200, enter, 300, enter, 400, enter, and 500, enter. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to enter my numbers in. 1.25, 0.9122, 0.6657, 0.4858, 0.3546, and 0.2588. Okay. Did this change my data when I changed those numbers?
No.
It didn't? So I'm going to have to clear that and re-enter that. Okay. Enter. And then I got to go up here. And this is going to be L3 is going to be, that's the concentration. This would be the natural log of my list 2. So I'm going to go second, list 2, parentheses, enter. Natural log is right here. It says LN. It's right next to the 4. And then I'm going to go up to my list 4. I'm going to clear that. And I'm going to start it over. And I'm going to do 1 divided by my list 2 and hit enter. Natural log is here. And then I do second and L2, and that's going to give me my list 2. You got stuff to drop off? Huh? Yeah, you can just drop it off in here. I'll take care of it next hour. Thank you. That's fine. Just dump them here. I'll take care of them at the end of this hour. I got prep 5th hour, so.
I'll put some right here too.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you all. I'll take care of that.
Thank you. You made a list of everything.
Okay. I'll put it here for, yep. All right. Thank you, dear. Okay, so if so you got to go up here. I'm going to hit clear. Okay. I'm going to go up. I'm going to hit 1 divided by, and then I'm going to hit my second button. And right here, it says L2 in blue. Do you see that? I'm going to hit that and then hit enter. Okay. So L3, when I did that calculation, I did natural log. So I hit this button and then I hit the second button and L2. Do you see where it says L2 right here? It says list 2. So I'm telling it that I want the natural log of this column right here. Then I toggled over to here and I told it that I wanted to do 1 divided by list 2, which is right here. To get to list 2, I hit second and list 2. All right. All right. Now, I want to look at these graphs. Where do I go to go look at the graphs? I want to hit stat. And now I want to go up here. I want to click over to calc. And then I want to go down to here. So stat, toggle over to calc, and go to 4. So stat, calc, 4. You ready? Okay. Now, I'm going to tell this, first of all, to do list 1. And now I'm going to tell this to do list 2. And I'm going to hit enter, 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 calculate. What?
I put Y1 down there. Let's put Y1 like that.
Stat, calc.
No, everything disappeared.
And then you go down to where it says edit store. And then I put Y1 there. Just do bars. Which is next to the clear button. Bars.
Did what happened?
And then I was, and then I went over to the B bars.
Wait, so I can enter.
And then Y1.
Hey, I did that. Look at that.
Then it'll save everything in Y1. So if you were to press Y1 now, everything, all your information will
Because you have a TI-83.
All right, guys.
With your list,
Well, this I have is list 1 and list 2.
I know, I'm getting different.
I'm in the R2 and R, and that's not
I'm
popular.
getting point.
You watch this video, saying that.
Wait, what? You said you're putting Y somewhere? You're gonna I have 0.951.
Yeah, I have 0.95.
Oh, right here, right here.
Come on, let me.
You have to go over to L3 and figure it out.
Hey, we're not coming on. She had it. No, I know, but why does everyone else have
Oh.
Go like this.
What do you have for your R value?
Because you don't have that diagnostic on.
Do you turn on diagnostics?
No.
Yeah, you had to watch the video because she showed you how to set up your diagnostic stuff properly.
Go somewhere and turn on diagnostic.
Okay, so go to stat.
It's like 15 minutes in the video.
All right, now we're back to stat. We're going to go up to calc. We're going to go down to 4.
Oh, you don't have your diagnostic.
All right, so my R value here is 0.975. I'm going to kind of make a mental note of that, but I don't really like that. I want to try to get this R value as close to 0.999 as I possibly can. Okay? So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to calc. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to change this list to list 3. And now I'm going to calculate it again. All right. Do you see how this R value now is all of these 9s going across here? That means that that is going to be my straight line. So where I had list 1 and 3, which is natural log and time, that's my straight line. Okay? So that means that that is a first order reaction. Because that's where I would have gotten a straight line.
You have that in for L3?
Yeah, he
Yep.
so like got 0.99.
Okay, so I'm going to go here.
I have slightly different.
So I hit stat. I hit calc. I hit linear regression. And I changed this list. I had this as an L2. I changed it to an L3. And then I just went down and hit calculate. Yeah.
So what's the difference between L2 and L3? Like what?
L2 was just the list of the concentrations. That's what I typed in. L3, when I set that up, I set up L3 as the natural log of that concentration. That's what I told L3 to be. And if you watched that video, did you watch the video? She showed you exactly how to put that in the calculator.
No, like I got the numbers, I don't understand like what does it represent?
It does the calculation. It takes, so this is 0.8, right? So if I take the natural log, well, no, I'm sorry. If I take the natural, this would be this. It would be 0.22314. So remember that, 0.22314. Okay. I'm going to hit escape, or how do I get out of here? I don't know. I'm going to do this. So if I do the natural log of 1.25, that's it. So all I did was I went through, I had the calculator figure out what the natural log of each of those concentrations was, instead of me sitting there plugging all of those numbers in and figuring that out. And then I took 1 divided by 1.25, and that gave me L4. So my list 4 on here, my list 2 is the concentration. That's what's in the table. This is the natural log of that concentration. I just had my calculator do it for me. And then this is 1 over this value. Again, I had my calculator do this whole column for me.
So L1 is the time.
L1 is time.
L2 is the concentration.
Concentration.
L3 is
Natural log of this concentration. L4 is 1 over, or the reciprocal, however you want to think of it, the reciprocal of this. L3 is the natural log of concentration.
L4 is 1 over.
Or the reciprocal, however you want to think of it. 1 over or the reciprocal.
Okay, my number's up.
And that gave me the straight line. That gave me the 0.999. That means that it's a straight line. Yep. So if I go here and go calc, and I go the linear regression, and I select my list. So if I wanted to do this with list 2 again, I'm going to end up, when I calculate this, I'm going to end up with an R value that's a little shady. Okay. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to change that. And you keep going until you get an R value that's 0.999, you know, a very solid, like, good confidence.
So if it was 999 with the L2, what?
That would be 0 order.
That would be 0 order. If it
So
was
it's 0 order,
L3,
first
it would
order,
be first. And if it was L4, that would be second.
I got no.
So here, I'm going to put list 3 in.
L2 is 0 order.
Okay. I put that in. If it's list 1 and 3 that gives you this, then it's going to be first order. If you put it in and you get this with list 1 and 4, list 4, then it's going to be second order.
What is a linear regression?
Linear regression is a calculus thing, I believe. Help me out here. Listen to Matthew. Yeah, he wants to know what a linear regression is. It tells you, like, if your line is straight, right?
Yeah, it gives you. Yeah, that's what you're looking at R squared value.
If this R squared value is 1 or as close to 1 as possible, that means that you've got an absolute straight line.
All the points you have for that list are going to fall within yours.
somewhere really close to that line.
Why do you calculate
I
these?
use the line that die.
How do you calculate what linear regression?
It's more of just watch the video and kind of explain it kind of thing.
This is like stats.
This is more,
Yeah, this is AP
this
stats.
is more, I don't know, it's not really like.
All right. So this weekend, if you did not watch that video, you now know the importance of watching that video. Okay. Watch the video. You are going to finish 5-3. We're going to come back and talk about 5-3 on Monday, and then you're going to get your pre-lab on Monday for your lab on Tuesday.
So Y3 is kind of just watch the video if you haven't and then do Y3. Or do
5-3.
If the video will really help.
The video helps a ton, you guys. Please, please, please watch that video if you have not. Okay.
Once you know the order, you can solve for K.
Yep. Once you know the order, you can solve for K. It's going to give you your K value. She's going to show you how to get that on here too. Okay. Watch the video.